I've inflated a 260 twisting balloon with a very long tail. I'm just going to squeeze my balloon to soften it. We're not going to use all of this balloon, and I'm going to make a bubble of about 3 fingers and twist another bubble to match that one. Okay, so fold the balloon at this point, take hold of the knot and nozzle and twist those bubbles together, and then we can take this bit of excess here and pull that through the center of those 2 bubbles, and that just pinch twists the 2 bubbles. We can squeeze this, break it off and tie a knot. Okay, and you can save this for something else. I've inflated a black 160 twisting balloon with a very long tail. I'm not going to use all of this, and I'm just going to twist a small bubble of a couple of fingers and then make another bubble to match this one. Fold the balloon at this point, take hold of that knot and twist those 2 bubbles together, and then you can take this very long section here and pass it through the center, again to pinch twist those 2 bubbles. Snip off the end here, just snip that away and let the balloon down and tie. Okay, and you're going to want to leave this long section. Take your white bubbles and take this section from the knot and nozzle and just pass that in between the 2 bubbles, the 2 white bubbles, and then pass it through the center of the 2 black bubbles. Okay, and then you can just let go. I've inflated a black 350 twisting balloon. I've only inflated a small part, and I'm going to soften this and then make a bubble that is about 4 fingers. So that's really quite soft. Twist here, and then we can cut off this end, but I want quite a long section. Okay, let that down and tie a knot. Okay, and then take these 2 ends and tie them together and pull them together tightly so it squashes that bubble. Okay, so we can set this to one side. I've inflated a blush 260 to a very long tail and a mocha 350 twisting balloon to a tail of 4 to 5 fingers, and I'm going to tie these 2 balloons together. So you can inflate these and tie them directly together and save yourself a couple of knots. So twist a bubble of about 5 fingers in your large balloon. Make sure you squeeze your balloon to make it soft, and then twist another bubble of about 4 fingers. Okay, fold the balloons over here. We're going to pinch twist this just by pulling this bubble upwards and twisting it around several times. Okay, again squeeze your balloon to soften it, and we're going to make another 5-finger bubble. Okay, squeeze your balloon to keep it soft, followed by a 3-finger bubble, 3 to 4 fingers. Okay, fold the balloon over and again pinch twist this by pulling the bubble upwards and twisting that bubble around several times. By now you should be almost at the end of your balloon, so just give that a squeeze just to send the air to the tip of the balloon, and then make another bubble to match this one. So another 5-finger bubble, twist. Okay, and then we can twist these sections together. Okay, next make sure you've softened your 260 balloon, and then make a loop, and the loop wants to just be about as tall as, a little bit taller than the bottom of this horizontal bubble here. Okay, So just make a twist and then wrap the rest of this 260 through, and then we can cut off the end. Let this down and tie a knot. Okay, and we can cut away the excess. So this is what you've got at the moment. Take this lovely nose that we made earlier and pass the uninflated sections through the centre of the nose, okay? And then take the excess. But first what we need to do is ensure that the nose is positioned fairly centrally to the forehead, okay? So just hang on to that, take the excess and wrap it around one of the ears, okay? And then take the other bit of excess, make sure the nose is fairly central, and wrap that around the other ear. Okay, we can just straighten these ears, okay? And that holds the nose fairly central. Next, take your eyeballs and just separate the balloons slightly here and take this uninflated section and pass it underneath these straps. Okay, so I'm just going underneath the straps. Okay, there. Sitting the eyeballs just on top of the nose and then bringing the end of that 160 from the eyeballs around the back there, and then I can just adjust the eyes. Okay, so this technique ensures that the eyes sit on top of the bridge of the nose. Some people like to position them just behind the nose, so if you want to, if you prefer to, you can just wrap the eyeballs behind the nose. It's entirely your preference as the artist. I've inflated a 260 blue to a tail of about 4 fingers, and I'm going to twist a bubble of about a hand span, so maybe 6 or 7 fingers. Give your balloon a squeeze and a stretch just to soften that. Take your bear and encircle the bear's neck with the blue balloon, okay? And then just twist that into that section there. Give your balloon a squeeze to soften. And then we want to make another loop that is smaller than the first one. So just position this smaller loop above the first loop. Again, pull that into the twist here, wrap it around, give your balloon a squeeze, and then twist a bubble of about 3 fingers. I'm going to pinch twist this. So pull that bubble upwards and twist it around. Okay? And then we want to make a bubble to match this one. So just measure the two. They don't have to be exactly the same length. Okay? And then we can just snip off the end, tie a knot. Oops. One of these days I will manage to make a tutorial without hitting myself in the head with the balloons. But I don't think it's happened just yet. Okay, so let's have a look at our bear. We can trim away these bits of excess here. I've inflated a 260 twisting balloon to a 2-finger tail, and I'm going to make a loop, okay? A loop of about 4 fingers. Okay, so just pinch hold of the knot and nozzle and twist. Okay, and then pass the knot and nozzle through the centre of that loop. That's just going to help ensure that doesn't come undone. Give your balloon a little squeeze just to soften it slightly, and make another loop to match this one. So measure, I like to make 1 twist, then I'll compare the 2 loops. If I think it's a little bit off, a little bit small, a little bit too large, I'll just reverse the twist, reinstate the twist, have another look. I'm happy with that, so I twist some more. And then I take the knot and nozzle and just wrap it around that second loop to ensure that doesn't come undone. Okay, so give your balloon a squeeze and a stretch. Okay, so we just have this little tip at the end, and I want to find very approximately the center of what's left. Okay, so I'm just going to put a split here. Okay, and then I'm going to candy cane these two sections together. So I hold my hands at this height, and I don't move the height of my hands, but I just hold on to each section and cross them over one another, okay? And spiral those balloons around. So my hands are staying pretty much at the same height, but the balloons are moving down through my hands. When I get to the top here, so I'm fully inflated, but I can just pinch a little bit here, which I'm going to do. Hopefully you will have a little tip, but I'm just going to pinch that and wrap it into those two loops at the top. And if I can, I'm just going to pass that little bit that I pinched off through the center of one of the loops. Okay, so that's what you've got. I've got a 160 balloon with a 1 finger tip, and I'm going to twist a bubble that is about 4 inches or so, about 3 to 4 inches. Okay, so make a twist, take your giraffe's body and wrap this section into the base of the two loops. Okay, and just wrap that around. Okay, then we can take the rest of the 260 and we're just going to follow the candy cane around with that 160. So just wrap it between your hands. Okay, when we get to the bottom here, make a twist, and then we're going to pull this section into the twist at the base here. Okay, just so it sits nicely, and then we can follow the candy cane back up. Okay, so my balloon is a little bit shorter than I had hoped because I'm going to want to make another bony growth. They're not horns, are they? They're ossicones. So we want to make another ossicone. So what I need to do is at this point, just stretch out my balloon a little bit. So just use the warmth of my hands to stretch the balloon. Let's have a look. Yes, that's going to give me enough length. And then I can just wrap this section in here. So wrap it around. Okay. By pure good fortune, my, let's call them horns for the sake of ease, my horns have turned out to be pretty much the same length. So all I need to do is to just trim off the nozzle. So if your horns haven't turned out the same length and you've got something here that's quite a bit longer, all you need to do is just make a twist, snip off the end, tie a knot, and make a bubble to match this one. Okay, so that's what you've got. Next, I'm using a blush, and I'm fully inflating this. Okay, so sometimes I use blush, sometimes I use a mocha brown, so it's your choice. And then let out quite a bit of air. Okay, so you want something that's nice and round, so maybe about 3.5 to 4 inches in diameter, and then tie, and I like to tie a soft knot, so I don't pull the knot tightly, and this means that I can roll the knot along the neck, okay, which means I can push the air into the neck, which I'm going to do. Okay, so just hold, maintain the pressure here by pressing on the balloon, and then twist at the base of the neck. Okay, so just twist here. And then take hold of that knot and nozzle and pull it into this section here. Okay, and twist round. So that's what you've got. Now keep hold of everything, otherwise it might ping undone. So keep hold of that knot and nozzle and pull it into this section here. Now my little section here is quite short, so it's going to be a little bit more difficult to just wrap it around, but it's doable. Okay, so let's just arrange everything. So, all we need to do is draw the face. I'm using a black Sharpie and I'm going to draw 2 large ovals. And then just shape those in. And then I do 2 little flicks for eyelashes. And then I'm just going to extend the bottom of the eye. For the eyebrow, I just like to draw a little circle and then I do a little flick off the circle. And a cheeky smile, a half smile. So that's what you've got so far. And then with an Edding 750 white paint pen, I do 2 little dots in the eyes. So there's your super quick and easy giraffe wand. For your elephant, you're going to need to inflate 2 260 twisting balloons to a 1 finger tail. So check that your balloons are approximately the same length. Sometimes there may be a difference, and if you find that is the case, then take the shorter one and just stretch it a little bit. Just run it through your hands, stretch it a little bit, and then compare. And if you keep doing that, then you should be able to just get your balloons to very approximately the same length. Okay, so let's tie those 2 260s together and nice and securely. And then go to the other end and we just want to tie the tips together as well. Okay, so I like to wrap the tips around twice and then tie for a good secure connection. Okay, and then take these sections here, push them together, wrap around a few times, and then just pull one through the other to lock those in place. And then we want to just part these, just pull them apart, so you're just kind of squaring off the corners, push the center down. Okay, grab hold here and then just massage here and here. Okay, and that's going to give the ear some shape. We do the same thing at the other side. Okay, and just part, push down and massage. Okay, and then massage here. Okay, and you will immediately notice that this ear has more pronounced shaping than this one. So we can repeat the process on this side. Let's just massage. We're just using the warmth of our hands just to shape the ears, okay? And there you go. So we've got a nice shape on each side. Next, I'm using a white 350, which I've inflated to maybe about 5 or 6 inches and with a long tail. And I'm not going to use all of this. And what I would say is if you don't have a 350, use a 260 twisting balloon instead. It just means your eyes are going to be a little bit smaller. Okay, so twist a bubble of about 4 fingers, hang on to that, and then make another bubble of a similar sort of size. Okay, so that's what you've got. Fold those 2 bubbles over, grasp hold of the knot and nozzle and just twist them around. Okay, and then we can take hold of this bubble here and just pull it through the center of those 2 bubbles, and that is going to pinch twist the 2 bubbles. So just do that a couple of times. Okay, so that's what you've got. Just snip off the end and tie a knot. Okay, so just do exactly the same thing. If you are using a 260, I'd probably make bubbles of about 3 fingers rather than 4. Okay, next take a 260 and make bubbles of about 3 fingers. So your first bubble, and then make a second bubble that is very close in size to the first, fold those over. So it's the same technique as before. So just twist those around. And then this time, just because we can do things differently, take hold of this excess here and wrap it through the centre. So you've got two slight variations on how to make the eyes for your elephant. Okay, just snip off the end and let out the air. So that's one of the things I love about balloon art. There are so many different ways to achieve the same result. Okay, so you've got the pupils for your eyes. So just grab the whites of the eyes, place the pupils on the top, pull the black uninflated section through the centre of the white pinch twist, up in between the centre of the black pinch twist, round the back, wrap around a couple of times in the back of the black, and then we can cut that away. So you've got your eyeballs. I've inflated a 350 to a 1 finger tail. And again, if you don't have a 350, don't worry, just use what you've got. Try this design with a 260 instead. It will just look a little bit skinnier, but you'll still get a good result. Okay, so I want you to squeeze your balloon and stretch it so it's quite soft. And then with your middle finger, just push the knot and nozzle into the balloon, okay? And then at about here, when you're maybe 2 inches, when your finger has disappeared into the balloon about 2 inches, with this hand, grab hold of that knot and nozzle, okay? And then once you've got hold of it, you can remove your finger and keep hold of the knot and nozzle and just twist on this side of the knot and nozzle. So you're holding it with this hand, but twist here, and then you can let go and you can just arrange this so that that little dimple there is a little bit more to the centre. Okay, so that's what you've got. Just squeeze the rest of your balloon, send the air to the end so the tip is almost inflated. Yes, that's good enough. So this is what you've got. And then you want to decide how long you want your trunk to be. So we want a nice long trunk. So I'm sort of giving some shaping to the elephant's trunk. So, and I'm going to twist here, I think. So we've got a section here that's probably 18 inches to 2 feet long. And then we've got perhaps a 12-inch bubble here. So we are going to connect this section here to this section in the middle of the ears. So just pull everything together and wrap around. Okay, so already we're starting to see our elephant. So once you've connected everything together, you can just twist a soft bubble here. And we're going to pinch twist this. So just fold the balloon over, pull that bubble upwards and twist it around a few times. Okay, so that's just going to hold your nose and ears in position. So if you are really pushed for time, then you can actually make your elephant like this without the eyeballs, and the kids absolutely go wild for this design, even without eyes. Okay, so now we can take those eyes, just position them on top of the nose and wrap the 350 white around that pinch twist, and then just bring it back through the other ear and wrap it into the centre of the white eyeballs. Okay, so let's just position everything. So just sit the eyes on top of the nose. And there you've got your fabulous elephant wand. I've inflated a 350 twisting balloon to a 5 to 6 finger tail. Okay, first of all, I'm going to twist a bubble that is about 3 fingers. And then fold that over, take hold of that knot and nozzle and just pull this bubble outwards and twist the bubble around. Okay, so that's just going to pinch twist that bubble, and then make another bubble of approximately the same sort of size. Give your balloon a little squeeze to soften, make a bubble, okay, and fold the balloon over. And we're going to grab hold of this bubble, pull it outwards and twist it around, and that's going to pinch twist this second bubble. So that's what you've got. Squeeze your balloon. Again, we want to keep this nice and soft. And then make a bubble that is about a hand span. So maybe about 4 inches. Then make a small bubble that is about 3 fingers. Okay, fold the balloon over. We're going to pinch twist this bubble. So grab hold of it, pull it outwards and twist that around several times. Okay, so this is what you've got. Next, we're going to make another bubble, very similar in size to this one. Okay, so again, just give your balloon a squeeze, then measure a bubble, make a twist, okay, and then make another small bubble of about 3 fingers, okay, fold this over, pinch twist. So you're an expert at these pinch twists by now, just twist it round. Okay, so this is what you've got, and squeeze the air to the tip of your balloon, and then make another bubble to match this one. So very approximately, measure this and twist, and then twist this section into the 2 pinch twists. Okay, so just twist that around and then pull this section through the middle of the pinch twists. Okay, so that's what you've got. I'm inflating a black 260 twisting balloon, and I'm going to push this quite far down onto the hand pump and then inflate. And I want to twist off a section here and let quite a lot of air out there. So I've got this nice long uninflated section, and I can just tie a knot there. Okay, and then make a bubble of about 3 fingers. Okay, followed by another bubble of about the same size. I'm just going to make that one a little bit bigger still. So you can always reverse your twists. So if you're not happy with the size of bubble that you've just created, you can always just let that unravel and reinstate the twist. Okay, as I'm doing now. So let's have a look. That's too big this time. So I'm happier with that one. And again, it doesn't matter if these bubbles aren't exactly the same size, close is good enough, okay? And then we can pinch hold of that knot there and twist it into this section here, okay? And then you can take this uninflated section and just pull it through the centre of those 2 bubbles, and that's going to pinch twist those, okay? We can snip off the end here. Let the air out and tie. Okay, so we've got a pair of eyeballs here. I've now got just the tip end of a 350, and I'm just going to inflate the tip of this 350. Okay, so squeeze the air to the end, and then just squeeze the balloon here, and as you do so, twist. Okay, so you get a nice round bubble. Okay, and tie a knot. Okay, so this is our tiger's nose. I've inflated a 260 white with a long tail of about 8 fingers, and I'm going to give that a squeeze to make sure it's soft. Give it a stretch as well. That's going to help ensure the balloon doesn't pop. Okay, and we're going to make a small loop of about 3 fingers. Okay, and twist that round. So that's almost a pinch twist. And if you're at all concerned that that is going to come undone, then just take your neck, wrap it around there and tie a knot. Okay, because sometimes when we're doing this technique, that first loop can come undone, okay? And then we're going to make another loop to match. So small loop, about 3 fingers, and twist. So I like to make 1 twist, check to see it's a similar sort of size, and then commit to the twist, okay? And we're going to make 3 more of those, the same sort of size. So don't worry if these loops aren't exactly the same size, that's not critical, but close is good enough. Okay, so that's our 3rd one. We're going to give a squeeze again, another loop of about 3 fingers, twist, wrap the loops around one another, and our last loop, measure and twist. Okay, so, and then we can snip off at the end of this balloon, let out the air. Okay, so I'm just letting the air out slowly. If I let the air out too quickly, there's a risk that that section of balloon could pop. Okay, so this is what you've got. It's effectively a daisy flower. Take those eyeballs and pull the tails into the centre of those loops and just wrap the excess around, okay? Then take the nose and pull that into the centre, just underneath the eyeballs, wrap that around. Okay, so take these tails, pull them into the back of the head and just wrap the excess around the ear, okay? And then locate the other bit of black and wrap that around the other ear. And then we can just arrange these loops, okay? So you want 2 chubby cheeks, and then just behind the eyes, you want 2 loops. So I'm just going to move the loops around, okay? So the cheeks, the loops of the cheeks are sitting as they would for a flower, but for the eyes, I've rotated them, and so we've got this loop here, okay? So we just want the eyes to sit there. For the stripes, I'm using Posca paint pens. So you can draw the tiger stripes however you want. You can do zigzags quite quickly, but I'll show you what I like to do. Okay, so I try to find the centre of the forehead very approximately, and I draw a line upwards, okay? And then I draw a line to the side and another line to the side there. And then I turn these into long triangles. Draw a line around this section, a curved line, and then I make a long line there and then just colour that in. And then I replicate these stripes along the side of the face. These markings already make our tiger look very distinctive, but there's something we can do that just make these markings pop that little bit more. I'm just using a white paint pen just to highlight the black markings. For my octopus, I've inflated a 260 twisting balloon with a 6-finger tail. I'm going to make a loop, so I'm just folding the balloon over. I'm going to measure the loop. I want it to be about 3 fingers in size, and then twist, okay? And then I'm poking my finger through the centre of the loop and passing the knot and nozzle through the centre to help ensure that doesn't come undone. I'm going to make a second loop, a similar sort of size. So just twist. I like to have a little look just to make sure it's a similar size, but if it's not identical, don't worry. It's not critical for this design. Okay, so we're going to make a third loop of 3 fingers and twist. And then wrap the loops around one another to ensure they don't come undone. A 4th loop, I'm just folding the balloon over and twisting. And each time we make a loop, I like to wrap it around the other loops just to ensure they don't come undone. And then a fifth loop, so just twisting that round, wrapping it around the others, and then one last loop. Okay, so just twist. Okay. So we're just wrapping everything around. And that's what you've got. Next, I'm inflating a 5-inch round balloon, and I'm inflating this all the way until it becomes a teardrop shape. And then I want to let some of the air out. And as I do so, I'm going to press down on the top of the balloon because I want to achieve a really nice rounded shape. So I'm happy with that. And I'm going to tie a knot, okay? Now, if you're in a pinch and you've not got a lot of time, you don't actually need to tie that knot. You can just pull the neck directly into these loops and wrap it around lots of times. And that will just mean you don't have to tie that knot. So this is what you've got so far. It's entirely up to you at this point whether you want to keep this simple wand handle. If you're at a very busy party, chances are you're going to want to stop here and go directly to drawing the face because you've not got a lot of time. But if you've got a bit more time, then there are more things that you can do, and I'll show you how to make a slightly more elaborate wand handle. So if we're wanting to create a slightly fancier wand handle, we're at this point with our octopus. I haven't tied the round balloon. I'm just pressing down. I'm going to put a twist in the neck here, so I haven't tied this balloon. And as I said, you can just wrap this neck and nozzle into the flower petal loops lots of times, and that's just going to save you the bother of tying a knot, and it also means it's a lot less bulky. But you do have to wrap around quite a few times, okay? So let's just straighten everything out. Okay, so I'm going to show you the more elaborate wand handle. So I'm just going to snip off the end here and let the air out. So there we go. And again, if you don't want to, you can just wrap that around. You don't have to tie. So the latex really does stick to the latex, so you don't need to tie as many knots as people think. I've inflated a 260 right to the very tip, and I've just given it a squeeze and a stretch just to soften it, and I'm going to find the halfway point. So I've just folded the balloon in half there, and I'm going to pinch here and just make a twist, okay? And then I'm going to pull that twist into these loops here. So just pull it through. And when you've done that, just twist these around a couple of times. Okay, you're going to want to check that your lengths are, these sections are similar in length. So this one isn't slightly, so I'm just squeezing it and stretching it. Whoops, I've overdone it, so now I need to do the other side. Okay, so that's close enough. Okay, so we're going to make a candy cane. So I'm just going to twist the balloons here and wrap them around one another. Okay, so I'm just spiraling those balloons between my hands. Okay, and when I get to the end here, get to the very tip, I'm just going to grasp the ends here and twist them around. Okay, so we've got two little bubbles. Okay, and then we can take the smallest of the bubbles and just pass that through the center of the candy cane. So that's just going to secure the candy cane. I want to draw some big circles for my octopus's eyes, but I struggle to do that. If I was at a busy party, then I would certainly draw that freehand. But if I was preparing these as a party giveaway, they're great to give away at the end of parties as a party giveaway or a party favour. You know, all the children are filing out the door and they each get a wand. So that's definitely something I would recommend if you've got an under the sea party. So if you've got time to prepare these in advance, then I recommend one of these stencils. Okay, so you can use these to draw the circles for your octopus's eyes. So pick a circle that you think would be big enough. I think I'm going to go with that one. And then just lay it over the top of the balloon, hold it down and draw your circle, okay? So one thing you do have to be careful of is that when you lift this away, it's very easy to smudge the ink. So just do watch out for that, okay? And then I'm just going to rotate my balloon and draw another circle. Line that up, okay? And press it down and draw another circle. And then just lift off very carefully. Okay, and all we need to do now is just colour these in. So I recommend you use the flat of the nib because that's going to give you the quickest coverage. Next, I'm going to draw some pink cheeks and I'm going to draw some circles just below the eye, but I'm just going to freehand these. I've got a great tip for you for drawing smiles. If you struggle to draw a perfect semicircle for a smile, just go for a cheeky half smile. It's much more forgiving. I'll show you. Much easier than trying to draw a perfect semicircle. And I'm using an Edding 750 white paint pen just to draw the eye highlights. And I'm doing a big circle, a big white circle and filling that in, followed by a smaller dot. And do that on the other side as well. For my flamingo, I'm using a 260 twisting balloon and I've inflated this to a tail of about 4 fingers, okay? And I'm just going to make a small loop of about 4 fingers. So I'm holding on to this knot and nozzle and then just twisting that loop around. And then I'm going to poke my finger through the centre of the loop, pass the knot and nozzle through to the other side, because that's just going to help ensure that doesn't come undone. And fold the balloon over again, measure a 4-finger loop and twist. I like to make one twist, have a look to see if that is the same size as the other one. It is, it's close enough, so I'm happy with that. Give the balloon a little squeeze just to soften and measure another loop of about 4 fingers. Make a twist and then wrap those loops around one another. Again, squeeze your balloon. That's just sending the air towards the tip of the balloon and keeping your balloon nice and soft. Measure the loop, make a twist. Okay, wrap the loops around one another. We're going to do that another couple of times. So measure 4 fingers and twist. Okay, and then once more. Okay, and we can just make another loop and wrap that around. Okay, then we can arrange these loops. At this point, it's entirely up to you what you do with this section here. You could leave this and use it as the handle of your flamingo for your wand, and that works really well. In this instance, I'm just going to twist off a little bubble at the end and let the air out. So I'm just snipping a little hole in the end here and I'm letting the air out slowly, because if I let the air down quickly, there is a good chance that this bubble will pop. Okay, so I'm just going to let that down, tie a knot and wrap the excess around those loops and just let go. Okay, so we can reinstate those loops. So I've inflated another 260 to a tail of approximately 4 fingers and I'm going to twist a small bubble of approximately 2 fingers. Make another bubble to match this one. Or it needs to be close in size, it doesn't have to be exactly the same size. Fold the bubbles at the centre here, so I'm just grabbing hold of that knot and nozzle and then twisting this section here. Okay, and then I can take this excess here, wrap it through the centre of those 2 bubbles and just let go. And that creates 2 pinch twists. Okay, give the balloon a little squeeze just to send some of the air towards the end of the balloon. That's just going to help keep the balloon nice and soft. And then twist a bubble that is around about 4 fingers in size. Okay, and make another bubble to match this one. So just measure against the first bubble and then twist this section into the pinch twists here. So just twist those around and pull the rest of the balloon through the centre of the pinch twists. Okay, so this is what you've got. I've inflated a 160 twisting balloon to a tail of about 3 fingers, and I'm going to twist a bubble of about 4 fingers, so maybe a couple of inches in size. Okay, make another small bubble, and remember to hold on to both ends of your balloon, otherwise these bubbles will unravel. And make another bubble to match this one. So close, it needs to be close in size. It doesn't have to be exact, but close is good enough. Okay, and then we're going to wrap these 2 sections together. Just pull them upwards and twist them. Okay, give your balloon a squeeze to keep it nice and soft, and then pass the long balloon through the centre of these 2 bubbles, and that is just going to pinch twist them together. Okay, so this is what you've got. Again, give your balloon a squeeze and twist a bubble of about 4 fingers and make another bubble to match this one. I'm just folding over, comparing the size of the 2 bubbles, and then twist these 2 sections together. Okay, we can break off the rest. So just hang on to this. So we're going to need to just tie a knot in this piece because we need this in a moment. And this section we can just tie in a knot. Okay, and trim away the excess. At this point I'm just going to cut away the nozzle. Okay, so it's not quite so noticeable. So this is what we've got. With this section that we saved, just fold that in half, and we're going to make a small candy cane. So I'm just going to hold each side of the balloon in one hand, and then I'm just going to wrap the balloon across one another, the 2 sides across one another, until I get to the top. Okay, and then I'm just going to pinch hold of the knot and the tip, and I'm just going to pull the 2 together, wrap them around, and pass the knot and nozzle through the centre of that candy cane. Okay, and then I'm just going to tie the 2 ends together. Okay, so these are going to be the legs of the flamingo. So take the bubbles that we've made in your flamingo's head, and we're just going to pass the 2 bubbles here through the centre of the head. So just push them through. It should be quite a snug fit. Okay. And then take one of the pinch twists and just roll it through the centre. And that's just going to ensure that the eyes don't drop out. And then we can just adjust the beak, curve the beak slightly. Okay, so this is what you've got. Next, squeeze the air towards the end of the balloon. You need about a finger of length here, and I'm going to make a long neck for my flamingo of about 10 inches or so. Squeeze the rest of the air into the tip. So you've just got this little tiny tip here, and then take the flower petal loops that we made and pull this section into the centre of those loops and pull that up and through. Okay, and then we can just take the tip here and pull that into the base of those flower petal loops. And just pull that into the centre of those loops. Okay, let's arrange our loops, and we can just give this part of the flamingo some shaping. and we can just shape the neck slightly. Okay. I've inflated a 160 balloon to just a small tip here, and I'm tying the ends together. Okay. And then fold the balloon in half. Just pinch hold of this section here, and then take hold of the top section and just twist that top section around. And that splits the balloon very approximately in half, okay? So take these two sections here and twist them together, and then pass one loop through the centre of the other one, okay? So take the centre of the loops and pull the centre through into the base of the flower base, and pull those loops round to the side. And just arrange the flower petal loops. And then we can give these loops a bit of shaping. So just curl them over a little bit. Do that on both sides. Just using the warmth of your hands to give them a little bit of shaping. We can accentuate that a little bit more if we want to. So just until you get a shape that you're happy with. If you're at a busy event, people love this flamingo just as it is. But I like to add some legs, which you can do in black or you can do in pink. And I'm just going to take those knots and nozzles and pull them into the centre of these flower petal loops. So I'm just going to pull those through, up into the centre of the loops, and wrap around and adjust accordingly. Okay, so there you've got a really spectacular flamingo wand. For your koala, you're going to need a black 260, and I've got a really long tail here because I'm not going to use all of this balloon, and I've got a 350 inflated to a tail of maybe 5 fingers, and I'm going to give that 350 a squeeze. Okay, and the first thing I'm going to do is tie these two balloons together. Now if you're inflating, you can actually just tie these two balloons directly together, okay? So you don't need to inflate and tie each one and then tie the two together. So we've connected them together, and first of all, I'm going to make a bubble of about 5 fingers in this grey 350, okay? And if you've not tried 350s before, I do encourage you to, because it gives you so much more scope for your designs. You can make so many more things. And then we want to make a bubble of about between 3 and 4 fingers, okay? And make sure you hang on to the first bubble here and the rest of your grey balloon, because if you don't, these bubbles will unravel, okay? And then we want to just fold this balloon over, and we're going to pinch twist this. So we're going to pull the bubble upwards and twist it around, okay? Twist it around a few times, okay? So now we can let go of this first bubble because that pinch twist has secured that bubble, okay? And then we're going to measure about 4 fingers, give your balloon a little squeeze just to soften it, and twist off a bubble of approximately 4 fingers. And then we're going to make another bubble to match this one here. So again, a bubble of about between 3 and 4 fingers. Okay, so again, I'm hanging on to this one and hanging on to the end here, because if I don't, everything will come undone until I've pinch twisted this bubble here. So as before, just fold everything over, grab hold of this bubble, pull it upwards and twist it around. And the reason we pull it upwards is we're trying to minimize the friction. So when you hear your balloons squeaking a lot, that's the balloons rubbing together, creating a lot of friction, and you're increasing the chances of your balloon popping, okay, the more they squeak and the more friction there is. Okay, I'm just going to squeeze the air to the end there, and then I want to make another bubble to match this one. So what was it? About 5 fingers or so, and then I can just have a little look. Yes, that looks about right. Twist it a little bit more and then wrap the two together here. So just twist everything around. Okay, and this is what you've got. Next, we can turn our attention to the black balloon. Okay, so I want to create quite a long bubble that comes to just about the bottom of this grey bubble that goes across the top here. Okay, so I'm just measuring that and putting a twist, making a twist. Okay. So, and then I'm going to make two smaller bubbles. So, a bubble of a couple of fingers and then another one to match this one. Okay, and then we can bring these two together. And this is another way of pinch twisting. So just pull these upwards, twist them around. Okay, so this is what you've got. And then take this long balloon and just wrap it through the centre of those bubbles. Do that a couple of times, and that's just going to pinch twist those two bubbles. Okay, so just a slightly different way of pinch twisting. We've got different ways to do things. That's one of the things I like about balloon art. There are always lots of different ways to do things. So just snip off the end of this balloon and let out the air. So pull the nose and the eyeballs upwards and try and hold them fairly central to the top of the head, and then just take the excess and wrap it into one of the ears, and then bring the excess back down, wrap it around the eyeballs, and then take the excess and wrap it into the other ear. And that's just going to help hold the eyes and the beak in the centre of the koala bear's face. Okay, I've got a 160 green with a 2 to 3 finger tail. Okay, and I'm making a small bubble of about 2 fingers. And then I'm going to make another small bubble of a similar sort of size. And again, fold these two over, grab hold of that knot and nozzle and just twist those two balloons around. And then you can take hold of the excess here, wrap them through the centre. So this is the same technique as we used for the eyeballs, but this is at the start of your balloon. So grab your koala's body, and I want to make a bubble of maybe 5 or 6 inches. So I'm just going to put a twist here. So similar in size to the bubbles we made at the start of the balloon. Again, fold them over and just twist these two together, and then take this 160 and just wrap that through the centre of these two bubbles. So if you don't like making pinch twists in the conventional way, this is a really great technique. Okay, I just want to squeeze my balloon and send the air towards the bottom. So right at the end here, I'm just going to make another couple of small bubbles. Okay, and wrap these two together, and then take the tip and just wrap that through the centre to secure those two pinch twists. Okay, so this is what you've got. And if you don't want to, you don't have to put these pinch twists at the start and the end of your balloon. That's just a bit of a decoration. So you don't have to do that at all if you don't want to. Okay, so I want to have this piece of the scarf hanging down, and then I'm just going to wrap this into those pinch twists here. So I'm just going to squish it all together, make a twist, and then wrap that into the two pinch twists. Okay, and just wrap that through and around. Okay, if you want to give your scarf a little bit of shaping, all you need to do is just curve the balloon and give it a little whittle, and that will just add a a little bit of movement to the sides of the scarf.